So we made a few mistakes when choosing our apartment.
Here's the top 10 things we wish we would have asked.
Hey guys, welcome back to Living with J&M.
As some of you know, we just moved to Colorado Springs. This was our first time finding an apartment in America. We didn't ask the right questions, so we want to make sure that you guys don't make the same mistakes.
So just a quick sum up of our story. We were living in Italy before this, and so to prepare to make sure that we actually had a place in Colorado Springs before we got here, because the market's hot, so it's really hard to find a place to stay, we actually got an apartment before we even looked. And we got here and realized that it was way too far away. It was in a different part of town than we wanted to live in. And so then we had to search for a new apartment after putting down a down payment for just to reserve that apartment for us. And so we just want to explain a little bit of the results that we got from actually taking our time to look more into an apartment, the location, the rent, pet friendly, and all the stuff like that.
So the first question to ask would be, what are the average utility costs for your size of an apartment? To make sure that you're not going over budget, you can go and ask the people that are in charge what the average utility costs for your size of an apartment and the average family that lives there. Going over budget is really easy to do, especially when you're moving from another state and you're not expecting the costs that come with that particular area. So this is a great tip to make sure that you stay within your budget and your living expenses.
So the second thing we want to talk about is to make sure you ask, how often does your garbage actually get picked up? Because for us, we pay a certain fee each month for the trash to be picked up. And a couple of things to think about: if there's a lot of people in your apartment, that means that there's a lot of trash. So you want to make sure that if you're right next to a dumpster, you can go put your trash and it's not piling up and smelling, but that garbage man is actually picking up multiple times a week. Our apartment specifically, they pick up 3 times a week, and at first I was like, that's ridiculous, but it's perfect because there's so many people that live here. It's so nice that the garbage never piles up, the garbage never smells. I can throw stinky garbage in there and within 2 days it's gone.
In our last apartment in Italy, we were charged with damages that we did not do. So number 3 is to make sure to inspect and ask about every single damage that you see. Really inspect it. The people in charge will walk through with you to write down any damages that you may see. They probably won't call it out, but you need to make sure that you're the one that identifies the issues.
So for me, my personality is, I don't want to point out the things that are already wrong, but the great thing about John is he didn't give a rip. And so he went through the house and pointed out all the things that he felt like, and we both saw that there were previous damage done to.
So I went through the apartment with the lady that was with us, and we checked everything. From the floor, we have vinyl flooring, and we checked to see if anything was bubbling up or peeling away. We checked the carpet to make sure that it was all down nice. The sections weren't ripping up. There was no tears from previous owners because this apartment allows pets. One of the biggest things that you should check always is behind the door. We found quite a few dents behind the door, which would have been an issue, and they could have said easily was us if we didn't check that.
And then we have to pay for it.
Yeah. And
we didn't do it, which happened to us in Italy. We did not want that to happen again.
Yeah. Also, the cabinets that we had to check out, the microwaves, the appliances, we went through, opened it up, made sure everything was decent.
And whenever we moved in, they had a certain day limit that you're allowed to tell them of things that you find. Make sure that if you find anything, like for example, our dishwasher was filling up with water, and if it was within a certain amount of days, we were able to tell them, hey, can you come fix that? And it doesn't look like it was our issue. So if you find issues after you move in, it's really important to make sure you call them and actually see and have them send you an email that they noted down that that was not your fault. So the fourth one that we want to discuss is especially important in a state that has a lot of different weather climates, is your parking and covered parking. So for just parking in general, our apartment has a rule that you get one assigned parking. So you have a parking permit in your window, and that number matches a number just for your apartment. So just for example, like you have parking spot 100. Well, you have one vehicle that's allowed to park there, and then the rest of our apartment, you have some empty spaces with no numbers that your second vehicle can park there. Well, the issue with this apartment is that we are in an area where the other parking, the unassigned parking that the second car would be able to park in, is way on the other side of the apartment complex, which we didn't even think about when we moved in. So the person who gets home latest, you know, or whatever, we're having to park on the other side of the apartment complex and walk all the way to the house. And in the winter, that's not fun because it's windy, it might be rainy, and it's freezing. And so that being said, when you move into your apartment, a great thing to look at is say, okay, I have two vehicles. Is my second vehicle going to be parked all the way on the other side of the apartment? Because that might be an issue for you to walk all the way over there every day. So you just want to make sure that the parking situation is convenient and close for you. The second thing to do with the parking is in Colorado, there's a lot of snow, there's hail, there's rain, it freezes over the night. And something that we don't have in this apartment complex, but would have been really nice, is the option to pay for covered parking. We don't even have the option to get covered parking here.
Which we knew about.
Yeah, which we knew beforehand, but in a climate like this, it's something maybe to worth thinking about, or to worth, you know, living a little further if that is a priority for you. It's something you should consider whenever moving to Colorado Springs, and definitely something we thought about and just kind of had to give up to be in the location that we were in.
Number 5, you have to ask if you can make changes to the apartment. Not every apartment is going to allow you to make changes, and with this one over here, she likes to hang up everything.
Guilty.
So make sure that you ask if you can put holes in the wall to hang things up, paint the walls if you want to, maybe change other things, other decorative things that you want around the house, maybe even the blinds you want to change. Make sure to ask that beforehand and see if there's any charges with that. In this apartment, I believe that you don't have to pay for anything that's like a hole bigger than a quarter or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a just normal nail size.
Yeah. So if there's anything bigger than that, you have to pay for it. A lot of apartments don't like you painting their walls, but they will allow you to do it if you repaint it before you move out, which is not very fun, and we had to do in our last apartment.
Yeah. Okay, so number 6 is, are there areas for your pet to go to the bathroom and just to play? So for us, a big thing about moving and finding an apartment was, do they allow pets? And do they allow pets the size of Winston? He's not very tall, but that hunk is a chunk, like 80 pounds worth of chunk. So we had to find a place that allowed pets Winston's size with how much he weighed. And a lot of apartments here, they only allowed like under 30 pounds or something like that. So you have to think a small dog like that could need a smaller area to go to the bathroom in or stuff like that. And so whenever we moved to this apartment, one thing we made sure to look at is the apartment complex gonna have a place that I can take Winston to that's not far away? Because I don't want to be, you know, up at the break of dawn taking my dog out. It's freezing cold outside and I'm having to walk far away to even just let him go to the bathroom. And so we just made sure that there was enough grass, enough area to have him play, and for it to be really convenient for us to take him out and not have to go on a hike just to do it. So number 7 is a pain in the butt, and I have no words for it because it really just ends up being so difficult. But for us specifically in this apartment, we have public washers and dryers for 8 apartments. I said 8 like this. So there's 1 washer and 1 dryer per 8 apartments. And I'm not necessarily worried or concerned about the amount of people using the 1 washer, 1 dryer, but it's the cost of that washer and dryer that we have to pay for every load. And so how it works for our apartment is you get a little card when you move in and reload it with your credit card in this machine. So for example, I put $20 on there, but it is $2.50 for a wash and $2 for a dry. So that's $4.50 for a single load of laundry. So in some apartments, you're actually able to go out and purchase your own washer and dryer, and then you have little connections that you can put it in your apartment. But we don't have that option here, and so we're stuck with doing it in our laundry room here. So $4.50 per load, just it blows my mind that they can charge that much.
And we knew that it cost.
Yeah.
It's just that we didn't know how much. We didn't ask how much it cost.
Yeah.
We knew the process of putting it on the card. We knew that we had to load it up every time it ran out, but we just didn't know the price of that.
Yeah.
So if you have any other experiences with the cost of laundry at your apartment, we'd like to know. You know, just put it in the comments. We'd be interested to see what it's like in other places.
And so we just really encourage you, whenever you go to your apartment, to ask how much it is and to see if it's a possibility to put a washer and dryer in your apartment, because we didn't budget that in, and that could be a big determiner of where you're gonna live and if you can afford it.
In areas similar to Colorado Springs, you should probably ask, are the lights in the bedrooms? Yeah. Showing up, we didn't know that many of the apartment complexes around this area try to save on their own electricity by not putting lights inside the apartment. So what you have to go do is buy your own lights. So in our apartment complex, we have one light in the kitchen and one light in the hallway and one in the bathroom, and those are the only 3 lights. We have 2 bedrooms that do not have any lights. The closet's impossible to see in.
The living room.
The living room, yeah.
We came in, she was showing us the apartment, and this is after we had already said, yes, we want it. We had waited 25 days in the hotel or whatever for this apartment. We come in and we're like, yes, we finally get to move in. And I walk into the bedroom and I flip the switch and I realize that there's no lights in the room. And I asked her, I said, are there no lights in here? And I was just dumbfounded because I had never in my whole life even thought that somebody would have put lights in a bedroom. And the living room's not a huge deal, but at night, you can't see anything in the bedroom if we don't have our side lamps on. They did this because they said it saves a lot of money on rent, but make sure that you check if the lights are in the bedrooms or not, because it does make a difference if you're gonna have to buy some tall lamps, some side table lamps, and other things like that.
Yeah, we also checked out the show home apartments, and we didn't even think about it. She went in, flicked on the light switch, and now that we know about this, it turned out it was the lamps and not the actual lights. We didn't even think about looking at the lights, honestly.
Yeah, because actually what they do in our apartment is they have a switch that would be like for lights, but it turns on and off the outlets, so you could plug in a lamp and flick it on and it acts like a ceiling lamp, but still kind of weird.
So for military families, one of the most important things to ask about before you even sign the lease is if there's a military clause in there. So sometimes you may have to sign the lease for a few months over your contract, so you may be moving in that time. Something that you don't want to do is either have to pay the penalty for moving because the military tells you so. A lot of the apartment complexes in military towns and military areas will respect this, and so they add a military clause. But because most military people expect that, they don't look for that clause. And so when your contract runs out or it's time for you to PCS, some even have to keep on paying 3 to 5 months of rent on top of what they have to when they move. Sometimes they allow you to pay the penalty that I mentioned, but others don't, and so you're stuck with that lease. And if you're in that military clause, you can have someone sign off and say that you are moving for military reasons, and you're done. You can just move out.
a clean slate. They just break the contract with no penalties, which is really nice. So as everyone knows, Colorado is weed central.
If you're not someone who likes this in particular, you should ask your apartment complexes if they allow it to be smoked in or around the apartment complex area.
Yeah, because some apartments allow it. A lot of apartments here allow it. But if you're the type of person you're like, I don't want to be around that, if there's one place I want to be and it's not there, it's my home, then you need to make sure that whenever you go check out apartments that there are some that don't allow it in their apartments at all. And that could be really helpful for you. For us, we didn't really mind. We just wanted a place to stay. We didn't even ask, but we wanted to make sure that for people moving to Colorado, that you know that it's a very big thing here. And if you're not fond of it, then that's something you need to make sure your apartment says yes or no to.
And if you are fond of it, you might as well ask too.
Yeah. Yeah, if you are fond of it, you need to know, because if you want to do it, some apartments don't allow it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to go down and like and subscribe. If you have any other experiences or tips or things you wish you would have known before moving into your apartment, or just bad experiences or crazy stories, go put it in the comments. We would love to know. We try to reply to everyone. We love this community and being able to build a relationship with you guys. So thank you so much for watching.
So we'll see you guys next time.
Have to walk, you know, I don't have to walk for